do you do, sir, if your son or daughter was gay?
Well, thankfully, I have two sons and a daughter, and none of them is gay.
That's not the answer. What would you do if one of them was gay?
You're asking me to go into the world of abstracts. I'm a lawmaker. I deal with specifics. I deal with specific stuff. I don't deal in abstract. Maybe you should be talking to a storyteller or something.
Will you take responsibility if, because of this bill, people who are going about their lives are attacked by Ghanaians or are harmed because it's legal to do so, or people have been encouraged to do so, or are suicidal for that matter,
Larry,
take their lives because they can't live in that society?
Well, Larry, let me answer your question. Earlier on, I was telling you that this year alone, as of June this year alone, 21 persons had been attacked and killed in the United States, where LGBTQ rights are legal.
Ghana, sir. This is about Ghana, sir. So let's focus on Ghana.
Well, if this is about Ghana, then stop trying to import American values into the reasoning of Ghanaian legislation.
I am not an American. I am an African. I'm from Kenya.
Well, Kenyan values are not the same as Ghanaian values. We have different values.
Why are you pushing this bill that would legalize hate and homophobia in Ghana?
A very good afternoon to your viewers, and I do not understand what you mean by pushing a bill that will legalize hate and homophobia. It's a bill to promote proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values. If you have another bill you're talking about, then maybe you've got the wrong man. But if you're talking to me about the bill I'm sponsoring in Parliament, it is to promote proper human sexual rights and Ghanaian family values.
What are these Ghanaian family values in your mind, sir? What do you consider Ghanaian family values?
Article 39 of the Ghanaian Constitution is clear that the state shall take steps to inculcate the right Ghanaian values, customary values, into society. The Constitution of Ghana states clearly that the National House of Chiefs is the custodian of Ghana's custom. This bill is supported by the Ghana National House of Chiefs. Our fourth consultative forum, which was held in the Ashanti regional capital of Kumasi, was actually sponsored by the National House of Chiefs. And the president of the National House of Chiefs spoke extensively at that conference, where Ghanaian culture forbids homosexuality. And so Ghanaian culture...
These members of the LGBT community we're speaking to, sir, are also Ghanaians. They are also Ghanaian. They are part of Ghanaian culture. And they're saying they're gay, they're transsexual, they're bisexual. They are also Ghanaians.
Some of the individuals who were involved in planning terror attacks in America are American citizens. Is it American culture to kill people?
That's a false, that's not the same comparison. But what I want to focus on here is...
It's not the same comparison. You are telling me that because we have people who are carrying out an activity that is illegal per our laws already, and our culture frowns on it because they are found in our jurisdiction, that is our culture.
There were many things that were illegal that are unjust.
Innocent children and teachers?
Honorable MP, there are many things that were illegal, that were unjust, and those laws were changed because they are unjust.
Well, laws are a reflection of society. Until 1960, American society did not find women fit to vote. And so women did not vote there. When they found them fit to vote, society evolved. Society evolves. At this point in time, the Ghanaian society is in a position where it says it is not welcoming of homosexuality. And any other person must respect the views of Ghanaian society. The CDD, which is a far-right liberal think tank here in Ghana, carried out research which was published on the 1st of July. In fact, the academics who have sent in a memo against this bill have two of their fellows, the CDD's fellows in there, the Center for Democracy in Ghana, Democratic Development. They've been clear. Ghanaians are 97% tolerant of Ghanaians of different ethnicity, 94% tolerant of people of different religion, 91% tolerant of persons of different political persuasions, 71% tolerant of migrants and foreigners, but only 7% tolerant of homosexuality. That is the system, that is the society of Ghana.
What's your reaction
Laws
to
are
the
a set
members of the
rules
LGBT
a
community,
society
sir,
agrees to.
that we've been speaking to who tell us they're afraid for their lives when this bill passes, if this bill passes, that they're afraid to even leave their homes?
Well, anybody who is engaged in an illegal activity should be afraid of the law, shouldn't you? Then there will be no essence of law. But let's be clear about this. The United States in 2021 remains the most dangerous place for homosexuals. As of June 2021, an independent story, a story run by the Independent.
Sir, this is not about the United States. This is about Ghana. This is about Ghana.
Homicide. No.
This is about Ghana. So I want to focus on Ghana, sir. Hang on. Let me ask the question. Let me ask you the question, sir. This is about Ghana. You are, as part of this bill, legalizing conversion therapy, which UN experts consider torture. Do you believe that homosexuality can be medically treated?
Well, tell me how individuals who are born men and decide to become women.
That's not an answer. Do you believe that people can be cured of homosexuality by some sort of treatment? I apologize. We appear to have lost the MP, Sam George. The connection is not that great. If we can reestablish that, we'll try and come back to him. And before we lost you, we were talking about conversion therapy, which is considered torture, and your bill would legalize that. Do you want to torture people in the name of curing homosexuality?
I was making the point that the individuals who decide to become transgender, who decide to change their sex from male to female, apart from undergoing surgery, also engage in hormonal treatment. Is that torture? Because I don't see how different hormonal treatment is from what you call conversion therapy.
Is not the same as conversion therapy. These are very, very different. This is a false equivalence you're making, sir.
No, what's the difference? I would need for you to
I am not a medical expert, but it's been by UN experts who look into this have considered conversion therapy as torture.
Expert, Larry, if you're not a medical expert, and I'm saying to you that we've spoken to the experts here in Ghana, and there is nothing different because conversion therapy is a hormonal treatment. And I'm saying to you that when individuals choose on their own volition to change their sex, they undergo hormonal treatment. Men go and take estrogen shots to be able to develop female features. And that's the same thing.
That is not the same thing. That is not the same thing. But I want to move away from that because you talked about the United States. You talked about the United States. This American organization held a conference in Accra in 2019. And shortly after, you introduced a bill with the same language, including family values. So you're influenced by a right-wing organization, which is considered one of the most hateful organizations exporting hate around the world. Is that correct?
It can't be farther away from the truth. Larry, I was never, myself and none of the 7 other colleagues of mine was at this conference. In fact, this conference came to my notice after the CNN's David Mackenzie asked me about it. I have had absolutely no contact with the World Council of Families. You describe them in the way in which you want to describe them. But we also have groups from the United States that are supporting LGBTQ rights, which is illegal in Ghana as we speak right now. Section 104 of our Criminal Offences Act makes it criminal. They're already trying to also influence Ghanaian stuff. This bill is in direct response. You say there was a conference here in 2019, a conference I'm unaware about. However, this bill is in, and I made a statement on the floor of the House in February, and my statement was clear. It was in response to the opening of an LGBTQ plus advocacy office in Ghana in January. That was supported by members of the diplomatic corps.
So you want to make it difficult for anybody to live an open, free life because of who they love in Ghana, and you want them to go to jail for 10 years. You're happy with that?
Well, you haven't read my bill. It's a misinformation to say that anybody who's found guilty of a homosexual act to go to jail for 10 years. That's a misconception you're peddling, and you should not do that.
They can go to jail up to 10 years. This is just one of the many penalties that is in the bill, sir, that you're encouraging Ghanaians to report anybody who is suspected of being LGBTQ. Is that correct?
Larry, I would advise that you do a better job at what you're doing, okay? If you want to put a spin on a bill, right? This is my bill that I've passed before Parliament. I'm going to read to you section 6.3 of the bill, or clause 6.3 of the bill, or 6.2 of the bill. A person who commits an offense under paragraphs A, B, C, D, E, F, G of subsection 1, which is the section that lists all the offenses, commits a second-degree felony and is liable on summary conviction to a fine of not less than 750 penalty units and not more than 5,000 penalty units, or to a term of imprisonment not less than 3 years or not more than 5 years, or both. So when you talk about 10 years imprisonment for persons engaged in homosexual activities, you are misleading the world, and that's unfortunate.
All right, so you think, okay, 10 years is too much, but 5 years is perfectly fine for somebody who's gay in Ghana to go to jail.
Well, that is the punishment for a second-degree felony in Ghana, and the activity of homosexuality is a second-degree felony.
Honorable George, are you just a hateful person who does not want people who are different from you to have a life in Ghana?
That is a defeatist approach to ask me a question, a defeatist line of questioning, that I'm a hateful person. If I'm a hateful person, we will not be protecting the rights of persons with LGBTQ and saying that you should not, they have a right. They have a right to a fair trial before the competent court of jurisdiction. Section 22 of our bill prohibits extrajudicial treatment, and you're not highlighting that part. That part is the prohibition of extrajudicial treatment. A person commits a misdemeanor if that person verbally or physically abuses, assaults, or harasses a person A, accused of an offense under this act, or suffering from any gender or sexual identity. A person who commits a misdemeanor under Section 1 is liable to a fine of not less than 500 penalty unit, or not more than 1,000 penalty unit, or a term of imprisonment not less than 6 months and more than 3 years. So
you're cherry-picking what seems like a positive angle of a larger bill that would make it difficult. Honorable George, let me ask a question here. You're cherry-picking a part of the bill that, a much wider bill that would make it difficult for people who are LGBTQ in Ghana to live. What would you do, sir, if your son or daughter was gay?
Well, thankfully, I have 2 sons and a daughter, and none of them is gay.
That's not the answer. What would you do if one of them was gay?
You're asking me to go into the world of abstract. I'm a lawmaker. I deal with specifics. I deal with specific stuff. I don't deal in abstract. Maybe you should be talking to a storyteller or something.
Will you take responsibility if, because of this bill, people who are going about their lives are attacked by Ghanaians or are harmed because it's legal to do so, or people have been encouraged to do so, or are suicidal for that matter, take their lives because they can't live in that society?
Well, Larry, let me answer your question. Earlier on, I was telling you that this year alone, as of June this year alone, 21 persons had been attacked and killed in the United States, where LGBTQ rights are legal.
Ghana, sir. This is about Ghana, sir. So let's focus on Ghana.
Well, if this is about Ghana, then stop trying to import American values into the reasoning of Ghanaian legislation.
I am not an American. I am an African. I'm from Kenya.
Well, Kenyan values are not the same as Ghanaian values. We have different values. I didn't say into Africa. I said into Ghanaian values. I'm a Ghanaian legislator. And just so you know, I represent a community or constituency that has 2 traditional areas. Before agreeing to push this bill, I met with my 2 traditional councils. I am a representative of the people who voted for me. The people who voted for me, the 2 traditional councils said to me, this is against our culture.
The people who voted for you, Honorable George, and I have to go, the people who voted for you, of all the problems they have in your constituency, is this the major issue for them? Is this the thing they're most concerned about?
Well, this is one of the major issues for them, because the government of Ghana in 2020 spent $200 million subsidizing the cost of antiretroviral drugs for persons who have HIV/AIDS. The Ghana AIDS Commission is telling us that men having sex with men, MSMs, homosexuals, are leading the surge in HIV prevalence in Ghana. $200 million could have fixed the water problem in my constituency.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there, Sam George.